Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another video. I wanted to make this video to just prove to everybody that with print on demand, and this is truly my belief, that there is no such thing as getting lucky. This is why I always push working hard. This is why I always push, going out there and doing the work to the best of your ability and always trying to push yourself to move forward. This is a comment that I got from Miss Kisti, I think her name is. Shout out to you. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. She says, I created my account about 1 year ago with just 17 designs. And in it, and the last month, I got my first sale. Now, the reason why I say that it's, in my opinion, that you really can't get lucky when it comes down to print on demand is because I'm trying to say that sales, success, all these kind of things come from one predictor. And that's your analytics. And the first analytic that you can really use to guide yourself to kind of have an expectation as to how much money you can make on print on demand, regardless of what site you're on, is the amount of designs that you have. So let's just say, for example, that I have a normal 100 designs on my store, right? It's fair to say that within 100 days, for most people, right, let's say we took a random sample of 1,000 people, and I actually should pull up a whiteboard for this because this is actually kind of important. So I'm going to pull up a whiteboard, and let me just kind of explain this here. Let's say, okay, whiteboard, tutorial point. All right, so we have a normal bell curve, right? And what a bell curve really is that you have basically, the best way I can explain this is, without getting too mathematical, standard deviations, all this kind of thing, is you have chances. You have things that have a likelihood of happening, right? Now, let's just say we took a random sample of 1,000 people. 1,000 people that created 100 designs. And they sat back and they waited for 100 days on their account. It's my assumption that, majority of people, and let's go ahead and go with the color blue here, or even red, right? If this is to be the halfway point, right? Somewhere around this aspect, okay, from here to here, which represents the majority of the population, right? Because if this represents the population and this represents the number of sales, right? The number of sales this way. So more sales here, less population here, higher population here. That this section right in between here would have the most, would have about 100 on average sales through their account. 100 sales. One sale. All right. This is the likelihood. This majority of people are going to get this one sale, right? The reason why I say one sale in a period of 100 days with 100 designs is because we know that the average conversion rate on the internet is 1%. Okay. And if we took a Redbubble store for 100 days that had 100 designs, let's just say it's brand new. Let's just say on day 1 and day 2, all the 100 designs were created, and then the rest of the 98 days, we'd sit back and wait, right? Most people are going to have about one sale, which is somewhere in between here, right? So it might be, let's say, 66% of the population right here are going to get one sale, right? There are people who are going to get less than one sale. They're going to get 0 sales. And they fit all in this category, right? They fit all in this category. And the reason why they fit in this category is because we know that the average conversion rate on the internet is 1%. So if the average conversion rate is 1% and their conversion rate, let's say, is anything less than 1%, then by default, through mathematics, that would mean they would need more than 100 days to get a sale. That's literally what it means. And now then you have a smaller percentage of people here. And once again, I'm not trying to get mathematical, so the percentages here are irrelevant. But the point is you would have a percentage of people right here, very rare percentage of people who are going to have more than one sale. They could have 2 sales, they could have 3 sales, whatever it is, more than one sale, right? Within 100 days, because their conversion rate is going to be higher than 1%. Now, what is a conversion rate? A conversion rate is simply the analytical value of the amount of customers to page visitors. So think of it this way. Let's think of it off of the internet. Let's say you have a hot dog stand. And let's say 100 people come up to your hot dog stand, and let's say 50 people buy a hot dog from you and the other 50 just walk away. Well, that means you have a 50% conversion rate. Not bad, right? Well, let's say you own a grocery store, and let's say 100 people walk in, 40 people purchase something, the other 60 walk out. That means you have a 40% conversion rate. In the world of the internet, as the internet kind of continued going on and people became more comfortable with it, the conversion rates, believe it or not, actually dropped. And there was actually a history in time where conversion rates were very, very low in the beginning of the internet because nobody trusted it. Then the conversion rate rose, and as time is going on, since this rising period, the conversion rate started to decline. And it's still declining even till today. There's a few reasons for this. One of the reasons is that creating websites has been so easy, and now everybody has a website, right? And because it's so easy, people are not designing their websites properly, creates lack of trust, things like that. People don't want to purchase. But there's also other websites that serve people's need. I mean, look at Amazon. Why would you purchase something from anywhere else if you have Amazon, right? But that's not the point. The point is that conversion rates now, on average on the internet, are claimed to be 1%. Generally, they're actually probably less than 1% now, believe it or not. You can go on some Shopify videos of these gurus and just take a look at some of their conversion rates. Most of them you're going to see making $100,000 a month, 2, 3, 400 grand a month are, doing a conversion rate of 0.6, 0.8, 0.9. Now, a lot of people might say, well, that's good enough. 200, 300, 500 grand, who cares? Like, why would the conversion rate need to be any higher? It's not that it needs to be any higher, but it means that you're leaving money on the table. Every time a visitor comes to your store, it means that you have potential to make money. Imagine if your conversion rate wasn't 1%, it was 5%. Imagine how many sales you would get. You would multiply the amount of sales that you have by 5. So that same guy who was making, let's just say, 200 grand a month off of a 1% conversion rate, imagine if he toggled his ads a little bit or improved himself a little bit, what his monthly income could be. It could be 400 grand, 500, 600, 800, without even having to change the traffic source, just getting better at what he's doing. So with that being said, that's how important the conversion rate is. Now with Redbubble, print on demand, things that we have control over when we create our designs, for the most part, our traffic is going to come from two aspects. A, the one that comes from organic through Google and the Redbubble search, which is we have a whole course on that to show you guys how to improve that, right? And I'll actually just give a shout out to the course right now because it's so impactful. Autopilotpassiveincome.com, Redbubble tag course. Go ahead and check it out. We have 30 lessons or maybe a little more than 30 lessons on there. Hours of content to show you how to gain traffic through tagging, through titling, through the Redbubble SEO search engine, and through Google's search engine, okay? So that kind of aspect. And then you have the second method, which is B, which is all outside sources. So social media, anything like that, right? Blogging, anything like that. So you have these two methods of traffic. From there, you can determine what your conversion rate is. Now, for the most part with Redbubble, unless you drastically improve something on Redbubble, your conversion rate is typically not going to change. So let's just say, for example, and I'm just giving this an example, right? Imagine you're a person who just started doing Redbubble a month ago, okay? And you take my course, for example, the Redbubble tagging course. You learn how to tag properly. Your conversion rate's going to go up a little bit, right? Because now you're implementing things that you learn. Or maybe it's not because you don't implement, right? Because not everybody who grabs the courses truly implements the information, right? But let's just say that you implement the information, your conversion rate goes up a little. Okay, great, congrats. Now that means you have to do less work for the amount of designs that you have because each piece of work is going to move up in quality. Well, this is the same concept for designing, but really what the conversation is now is how can I control the amount of sales that I have? And this goes back to the topic, why you can never really be unlucky when it comes down to print on demand. The reason why I say you can't be unlucky is because if you create, let's say, 1,000 designs, you are capping yourself out at the income that could produce. Well, let's think logically how much 1,000 designs can actually create in terms of income. Well, let's just assume that you have a 1% conversion rate on 1,000 designs. Well, the one analytic that's actually missing is your traffic. So let's go ahead and refresh this page, and let's rewrite this here. Let's type in visits here, and let's type in number of designs, right? And let's type in here conversion rate, right? Because these are the three quote-unquote variables. These are the things that can change. So let's just say the number of designs are 1,000, as we said. Our conversion rate is 1%. And now we have X, which is the number of visits. Well, in this case, let's just say off of my 1,000 designs, I've acquired a skill to the point where I can get, let's say, 50 views a month. Okay? 50 views a month. Now, I want to be clear, guys, here. When I say views, I'm talking about page visits. You can find the number of page visits by heading over to your Redbubble Analytics dashboard, or simply go to Google Analytics after you've connected Redbubble for some time. You'll be able to see the numbers. Well, this is actually a bad metric, and I'm going to use the color red here to outline this because I really want to prove a point here. I've said this before, but in an established store from 6 to 8 months old, that store should be getting 1 view per design mathematically that it has on the store. So let's say 6 to 8 months later, you have 1,000 designs on your store, and we're talking about 6 to 8 months of gap with absolutely no work on that store. Those 1,000 designs should be roughly generating 1,000 visits per day on your Redbubble store. If they are not, in my opinion, which 1,000 is good traffic. It's like really good traffic, right? If you do two times, that's stupendous. It's amazing. It's so amazing that you are just so blessed, right? If you do less than 1,000 visits, it's not great, but it's not bad. You'll still make good money, right? Now, if you do less than a certain number, it gets really bad. But the point is that let's just say after 6 to 8 months, your 1,000 visits generates 50 visits a day, okay? Not even a month. Let's just say a day. Let's give some grace here. 50 times 30, right, is equal to 1,500 visits a month. Sounds great. Well, we know how much money this 1,500 visits a month can actually create, because 1,500 visits where our conversion rate is 1%. If we multiply this by 0.01, how many orders are we going to get? We're going to get 15 orders. Now, on average with Redbubble, you might have products that sell for $2, a quarter, 50 cents, $10, $18, $4, $3, right? Whatever it is, depending on your profit margins, depending on what you're selling. But let's just say 15 orders, and let's assert a value of $4 per order. Once again, we're being generous here. So 15 times 4, you're going to generate $60 a month off a store like this because the conversion rate is at 1% and you're generating 50 visits per day. Now, let's just say you take the advice that I give with the goals that you have for your traffic, and let's just say instead of 1,000 visits per day that you're generating, let's just say you're generating 600 visits a day, right? Which is kind of fair. It's not crazy to ask. I mean, if you have 1,000 designs, all we're asking for is 1 view per design. In this case, this is not even 1 view, right? Maybe about half of them are getting a view. So actually, let's even make the numbers even better. So let's keep it at half. Let's go 500 visits a day. If you have 500 visits a day to your store, regardless of the number of designs, guys, right? 500 times 30, because that's going to be times, for the monthly, that's 15,000 visits. Well, let's say our conversion rate has not improved, right? Let's say it's at 1%. We multiply this by 0.01, and we're looking at 150 orders. Well, let's use that same calculation or assertion of $4 per order, right, on average. Then we're going to take 150 times 4, and that's $600 in profit. So that's how these things happen. So you have to ask yourself, how much do I want to generate? And be realistic. Don't say something like $7 million or something crazy like that. Be realistic. Come up with a number that you could truly believe is achievable, right? $50, $500, $2,000. It really just depends on you. There was a single mom in the comments the other day who generates over $2,500 a month off Redbubble. She's using it to support her and her family, and she lives out there in the country. So I'm just giving this example where she doesn't have to go to work. She has enough money, her house is paid off, life is good, where she can live. So my point is come up with a number that works for you. After you come up with that number, don't pay attention to the number of designs just yet, but look at the number of visits you have amalgamated, you have totalized, right? And you say, okay, with the number of designs that I have, which in this case is X, right? I have generated whatever number of visits, 200, 500, 3,000, whatever it is, per month. Now, based on this metric, if I want to generate, and let's say I'm generating $100 and my goal is to generate 600, that means you take the number of designs and multiply it by 6 in this case, right? Because if you know that you're generating $100, you want to make $600, that means you have to multiply your efforts by 6. So what you can do is whatever number of designs you have, you do 6 times more than that. Now, people might say, well, that's a lot of work. Isn't there an easier way? Isn't there a shortcut? The answer is absolutely there's a shortcut. You can increase your conversion rate. Now, people will say, how do I increase my conversion rate? What do I have to do that? How do I increase my conversion rate to make my life easier so now I don't have to do 6 times more work? I want to do 3 times more or 2 times more so I don't have to break my back working. Well, what you could do is you can focus on improving the skills that produce a higher sales rate. So what are the skills for print on demand? One of them is picking the art. One of them is picking the title. One of them is picking the tags. One of them is doing the marketing outside of it. All these things we've talked about in the courses, right? The Redbubble tag course improves traffic from Google, traffic from Redbubble search engine, by picking the right tags, picking the right titles, right? And they all have their own kind of approach. The POD design course, creating 60 designs per day, 30 minutes, doesn't take much effort, doesn't take much time, doesn't take much work. No niche research, not needed to do really anything other than that, other than uploading, right? And all that's included in the course. 30 videos here, 30 videos here. This is just an example. I'm not saying that you guys have to do this. This is just an example. Now, at the time, nobody was out here making these videos talking about this when I had to figure this out. So you know what I did? I went monk mode. I talked about this before. I do this sometimes in businesses that I really struggle with. And the reason why is because I've gotten to a point now where I just want to conquer different things for fun. So when I started Redbubble, I talked about this before, but the first 2 months were really good income. When I say really good, I'm talking about really good in reference to the amount of effort that I put in. But I didn't know that I had fourth quarter advantage. Everybody's sales go up in fourth quarter. I didn't know that. So what I did was, like a lazy individual, I left my store to just sit there month after month after month after month with no effort, and guess what? The income started dwindling down, 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 down. And I said, how could this be? The store was sitting here for a few months. I wasn't doing any work to it. If anything, it should appreciate, not depreciate. But in my case, it depreciated, and it got so low to the point where it was actually unbelievable. I actually put a screenshot here in the course. Where is it here? I know it's here somewhere. I'm actually going to have to fix this screenshot, but this is the screenshot. You can see here the income went down, 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 down to the point in June where it got so low that I said, all right, I have to bounce back. You could see the next month it went up a little. Then the next month after that, it went up drastically higher. The reason why I did that is because I was sitting there focusing on, okay, how can I get better? And that's where the things came with the tagging, with the titling, the design, all that kind of stuff. I had to master every aspect of the game to get good at it. And guess what? Since I got good at it now, I can be able to logically teach that to other people, which is why by the end of this year, and I've made a commitment to this, that I'm going to hire individuals that are going to do the work for me so I don't have to go out there and do it. And what that will do is 2 things. First, it's going to save me time. I can focus on other aspects of my life. Second, I can actually multiply my income. Because imagine if I took myself and I quadrupled myself, right? I got 4 of me, and they do the exact same thing every single day. Well, now I'm producing 4 times more work than I would have normally done so. And now I got 4 virtual assistants doing the same thing I would have done, but multiplying the efforts. So that will multiply my income. And even if they're not as good as I am, it's still going to produce a good amount of results. Now, when I say, guys, as good as I am, I'm not trying to gas myself up here. I'm just being 100% honest and fair with myself. I invested the time, the effort, right? And I worked really, really hard to figure out, okay, how can I be successful here? What do I have to do? And to be 100% honest, everybody's going to have that journey. Whether you get a course or not, everybody's going to have to go through the journey of applying themselves, figuring out how can I improve, and really, really working at it, right? There's really no other solution than that. Now, with that being said, something that I do want to say is that life will become easier at that time when I do hire other people. Now, granted, I'm a couple months away from start scoping out individuals, and then I have to train them the rest of the year so that by the time the new year comes, they know exactly what they're doing, and I don't have to communicate to them, I don't have to argue with them, I don't have to, do anything like that. But that's kind of the name of the game for me. So now, hopefully by the end of this video, everybody should at least understand my point of view. I'm not saying that I'm right 100% of the time. I'm not saying that, you guys can leave that for your opinion. Your opinion is more important. You guys can make the determination if you see my point of view on this aspect. I believe that people just don't get lucky with print on demand. Maybe you can make the argument about the top 1% that create one design that just somehow shoots to the moon and generates them $6,000 a month. Yes, we can make that argument, but I'm talking about for the majority of the people on a probability basis, right? On a basis of probabilities, I don't think that people get lucky. I think it's based on statistics. I think it's based on analytics. And I think it's based on control. I can control how much income that I produce. That comment that you saw of the individual who produced 17 pieces of work, left them for a year, and finally got their first sale, by those numbers, you can make a assertion that let's just assume they're getting one visitor per month. Well, if they're getting one visitor per month, that means they're getting 17 views a month. 17 times 12, right? Let's just go ahead and clear this. 17 times 12 is equal to 204. That means their conversion rate is actually less than average. If we had that bell curve, their conversion rate is less than average. It should have took them about 6 months to get a sale, not a year. That's if their conversion rate was 1%. Maybe they're getting more views, and maybe that means their conversion rate is higher. Who really knows? But I'm assuming that their view rate is about 17 views or 204 views on average for the year, or somewhat like an estimation, right? It could be a little bit different. So that's all I got to say for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you guys later. Peace out, bye. This is all I'm trying to say. There's no mysteries with print on demand. There's no unlucky ones. It's just simply a matter of numbers, statistics, data, analytics. All right? I'll talk to you later. Peace.